My name was Amir. I was a sheikh, a respected teacher in the sacred halls of Mecca, where devotion filled the air and reverence draped over every soul. At just 28, I had woven my life into the fabric of tradition, reminding others of Allah's commandment while relentlessly veiling my own doubts. On the surface, I appeared confident, standing tall among fellow believers, yet beneath my cloak of authority lurked an ache that would not quiet. The silence of my community echoed with questions I dared not voice. Then came the morning of Jumu'ah, drenched in sacred anticipation, when everything changed. As I prepared to lead the prayers, I collapsed into a darkness that offered no comfort, only a stark confrontation with my own soul. In that ethereal abyss, light shattered the gloom. Jesus appeared, not as the figure of distant lore, but as the truth I had withheld from myself. He called my name, invigorating a part of me that had long been extinguished. "You seek freedom," he said, "and the truth lies beyond tradition." What I encountered in that moment cannot be contained by human understanding. It was not just about my identity. It was a revelation that cut through the veils of deception that shielded my eyes from the reality of God's grace. The stranglehold of my upbringing fell away, revealing a new path that diverged from everything I had known. I realized I had been lost, not in seeking faith, but in a suffocating adherence that distorted my connection to the divine. As I returned to consciousness, the world around me became unrecognizable. I felt the weight of hostility as I tried to share my encounter with family and fellow congregants. I was met with disdain, branded a heretic for simply seeking the truth. My heart waged a war between the desire for acceptance and the burning necessity to speak out against the chains I had broken free from. In the maze of my solitude, I discovered the Bible, each page awakening a hunger I thought I had quenched long ago. I connected with others who had transcended fear, forming a clandestine network that embraced the freedom found in Jesus. Every whispered prayer became a lifeline, tethering me to a purpose that defied the shadows of my past. Today, I stand at the threshold of a new mission. I urge those of you who resonate with my experience to reflect on your own spiritual journey. Leave a comment below and share where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Let's bridge this divide and connect our hearts. If you feel the stirring of truth in your spirit, subscribe to Truth from Beyond. By doing so, you ensure you don't miss the revelations that lie ahead. Revelations that have the power to redefine your existence. The atmosphere in the sacred mosque in Mecca was electric, steeped in religious fervor. As I prepared for Jumu'ah, I felt the weight of expectation bearing down on me. My name is Ibrahim, and for years I've served as a sheikh, dedicated to nurturing the faith of my community. The worshippers surrounding me exuded a sense of obedience, yet within many of their eyes I sensed an underlying silence, a quiet storm of doubts, insecurities, and unspoken questions. I too was caught in that tide, fighting against the currents of my own uncertainties, even as I stood at the altar, poised to lead them. It was during one of those prayers, amidst the rhythmic recitations, that the world around me faded. I felt my body grow heavy, the sounds of the congregation becoming distant echoes. And then it happened. In an instant, the mosque dissolved into a blinding light, and I found myself in an expansive realm that felt both foreign and familiar. It was there that I encountered Jesus, radiant and filled with an all-encompassing love that enveloped me like a warm embrace. "Ibrahim," he said, and in that moment, I felt an overwhelming connection, as if every doubt I'd harbored was being washed away. As he spoke, revelations began to unfold like petals opening in the sunlight. Jesus showed me profound truths about the spiritual war we are all engaged in, unveiling the hidden agendas that manipulate our lives, how the elite use distraction and deception to control our beliefs. I witnessed the catastrophic effects of this manipulation, the societal fractures that stem from fear and division. I saw how many people, including those in my own community, are trapped in cycles of misunderstanding, fed misinformation that serves to keep them divided and powerless. Each truth was a sword slicing through the veils of ignorance that obscured our understanding of faith and connection. With every word, I felt an urgent call to action resonate deep within my being. I realized I couldn't return to my life as an imam without addressing the complexities that were often glossed over in polite discourse. It was imperative to confront the tensions that lay hidden beneath the surface of our prayers, to lead my community into an awakening that challenges the status quo. But the weight of my responsibilities pressed heavily upon me. Could I truly speak out against the very traditions I was sworn to uphold? Upon returning to my consciousness, I felt transformed yet burdened with newfound clarity. The mosque once felt like a sanctuary. Now, it felt like a crossroads where I had to make a choice. My encounter with Jesus had ignited a fire within me, compelling me to delve deeper into the truth, to risk everything for the sake of love and revelation. The fear of losing acceptance from my community's leaders and my family loomed large. But the desire to awaken others to their own potential for freedom overshadowed that fear. I prepared myself for the struggles ahead, ready to face whatever challenges lay in the path of sharing the truth I had received, knowing that my mission was not merely for my own liberation, but for the spiritual awakening of all those who still walked in darkness. As a 28-year-old Sheikh in Mecca, I've dedicated my life to teaching the Quran and nurturing the next generation of religious leaders. I've stood at the pulpit, sharing wisdom with my community, feeling the weight of their respect on my shoulders. Yet, beneath that exterior, I struggled with profound feelings of emptiness. I devoted myself to the traditions that defined my identity, but inside, I harbored unvoiced questions that gnawed at my soul. Was I truly fulfilling my purpose? Was my understanding of spirituality complete, or was I merely confined within the walls of doctrine that felt increasingly confining? One particularly memorable Friday, as I prepared to lead the Jumu'ah prayers, a darkness began to close around me, accompanied by an unsettling sense of foreboding. I took my place among the congregation, my heart heavy with doubts. When I began to recite the verses, my mind drifted. I could feel the weight of the room's expectations suffocating me. Just as I was about to bow my head in prayer, a sharp pain coursed through my chest and I collapsed, slipping into the depths of unconsciousness. In that in-between space, I was drawn into a realm of blinding light, an intense glow that felt all-consuming. As the light enveloped me, I found myself standing before Jesus. Amir. He called my name with a voice that resonated deep within me. In that moment, all my doubts and fears seemed to evaporate. "You seek the truth," he said, and I felt an overwhelming sense of understanding. Jesus began to reveal to me the hidden agendas that often control our lives, the manipulations of the elite who exploit religion for power, keeping communities divided through deception and fear. Through Jesus, I witnessed a broader perspective of society, how social and political unrest often stem from deep-seated beliefs manipulated by those in power. I saw the layers of obstacles that prevent spiritual awakening. The urgent message was clear. The spiritual war we face is fought on many fronts, not just within our hearts, but in the very structures that dictate our everyday lives. The conflicts and divisions I observed within my community mirrored a larger pattern of chaos, exacerbated by misinformation and the exploitation of our deepest fears. With every revelation, the pieces of my understanding began to connect. When I awakened, the mosque felt different. My reality had shifted irreversibly. The expectations that once seemed comforting now felt like chains holding me back from the truth I had now grasped. I understood that my role as a teacher needed to evolve. I could no longer remain silent about the spiritual awakening I had experienced and the truths I'd uncovered. My experience had illuminated a pathway I felt compelled to share, one that could bring others out of the shadows of confusion and into the light of understanding. The journey would be fraught with risks. What if my community rejected me, called me a heretic? Yet, that fear paled in comparison to the urgency of my mission. I felt a deep peace, knowing I was ready to confront the challenges ahead, armed with the love and truth of Jesus to light the way for others. As I engaged in my spiritual practices, an unsettling emptiness began to seep into my prayers. My name is Amir, and for years I have served as a Sheikh in Mecca, devoted to teaching and guiding others in our faith. But lately, as I stood before my congregation, reciting the holy verses, I felt more like a performer than a believer. The words, which once flowed with conviction, now echoed hollowly in my heart. I struggled with an internal disconnection that haunted my moments of worship, prompting me to question everything I held dear about my relationship with Allah. Each prayer session had become a profound test of my faith, forcing me to confront the hidden doubts I had kept buried. I often found myself wrestling with the question, am I truly connected to God, or am I simply following a path outlined by tradition? My mind was often clouded, and I was haunted by unsettling dreams, visions of a radiant being of light that seemed to beckon me toward something greater. At first I dismissed these dreams, thinking they were mere figments of an overactive imagination. But soon I realized they were urging me to look deeper, to seek something beyond the confines of my established beliefs. One fateful night, as I lay in bed, I was enveloped by a profound sense of peace that soon gave way to the sensations of an awakening. Suddenly, I found myself transported to a realm filled with blinding light, a clarity that resonated deeply within my soul. It was then that I encountered Jesus, a figure whose love and warmth enveloped me entirely. Amir, he called with a voice that reverberated through my very being, shattering the walls I had built around my heart. In that moment, the doubts that plagued me fell silent, replaced by a profound awareness. As we spoke, Jesus revealed hidden truths about the spiritual war taking place in the hearts of men. He unveiled the hidden agendas imposed by the elite, showing me how the systems designed to maintain control often twisted the principles of faith into instruments of division and deception. I witnessed the strife and conflicts fueled by misinformation, and the realization hit me hard. The battles we fight in our communities are reflections of a larger struggle that has been ongoing for generations. The vision ignited a fire within me, awakening a sense of responsibility to confront these truths and share them with others. Upon returning to consciousness, I felt both transformed and burdened. The familiar walls of the mosque felt less like a sanctuary and more like a cage. While my community maintained a rigid adherence to tradition, I now stood on the precipice of awakening, feeling a profound desire to guide others toward the truth I had encountered. Yet, with that urgent call to action, came an overwhelming fear of rejection. What would my family think? Would my community accept me? As I became a bearer of revelations that challenged the very foundations of their beliefs. Despite the weight of these uncertainties, I knew I had to step forward. The journey was just beginning, and I felt an unquenchable thirst to share the light I had found, ready to illuminate the path for others still lost in darkness. In confidential discussions with my friends, I've slowly begun to reveal the doubts that have been churning within me. My name is Amir, and as a 28-year-old Sheikh in Mecca, I've devoted my life to the teachings of Islam, striving to inspire others and uphold the tenets of our faith. Yet, as I've delved deeper into the spiritual war that rages silently within my heart, I've started to question my beliefs, struggling with the heavy burden of conforming to expectations while yearning for a deeper connection with the divine. Each meeting with my close friends has started with light conversation before the atmosphere shifts to something more serious. I voice my feelings of disconnection, of emptiness that persists despite the disciplined rituals I undertake. I can see their concern as I share my growing skepticism about the role of religion in my life. The fear of being labeled a heretic haunts me, and I understand the cultural consequences that could unfold if I challenge the beliefs that have shaped my identity. What if they view me as a traitor, someone who failed to honor the sacred teachings we've upheld for generations? Like many, I've buried these thoughts under layers of tradition, but after my near-death experience, everything changed. I encountered Jesus, and he shared revelations that peeled back the layers of deception I'd been living under. I saw how the elite often use religion as a tool, manipulating the masses to maintain their control and foster division. The truths I witnessed during that encounter pushed me toward awakening, yet they also sparked a profound sense of urgency to speak out, to confront the community I love with what I have learned. Our discussions linger on the messages I received from Jesus, a powerful call to embrace the truth, even amidst fear. With every conversation, I feel a growing resolve to share my journey. But as I contemplate how to do this without facing severe repercussions, I am plagued by the thought that I might be ostracized from those I cherish most. Yet deep within my heart, I recognize that my true calling lies in helping others navigate their own spiritual battles. I want to show them that it's possible to break free from the constraints of tradition and discover a more profound connection with God. As we delve deeper into these conversations during our meetings, I sense that I'm not alone in my struggles. Other members have begun to express their own hesitations about faith, echoing my concerns about hidden agendas and the manipulation of our beliefs. Such discussions ignite a fire within me, encouraging me to stand firm in my commitment to truth. The awakening I seek isn't only for me, it's for all those still grappling with the societal and spiritual conflicts that divide us. I know I will face opposition, but I am ready to step into the light of truth, eager to lead others toward their own revelations and liberation. On the eve of an important ceremony at the mosque, the air felt charged with anticipation and a palpable sense of reverence. My name is Amir, and as a Sheikh, I was preparing to lead a significant gathering, one that would draw our community together in devotion. Yet, as I stood before my congregation, a heavy weight pressed down on my chest. It felt as if the tension in the room mirrored the unrest in my soul. Despite my discipline and commitment, I couldn't shake the feelings of emptiness that gnawed at me, as if I were merely going through the motions instead of truly connecting with the divine. As the prayers began, I tried to focus, reciting the verses with fervor. Yet, in a moment of sheer overwhelming pressure, I felt myself collapse. Darkness enveloped me as I lost consciousness, slipping into a realm that was unlike anything I had ever experienced. I was adrift in a void, unsettled and alone, until suddenly a brilliant light pierced through the darkness, illuminating the vastness around me. As the light grew, I realized I was no longer alone. Jesus stood before me, radiating love and warmth in a way that felt profoundly healing. Amir, he called gently. The sound of his voice resonated deeply within my spirit. In that moment, every doubt and fear that had plagued me faded into the background. Jesus began to reveal profound truths about my life and the lives of those around me. He spoke of the spiritual war that rages not only within us but across the globe, a battle against deception and hidden agendas that the elite impose to manipulate and control. I witnessed glimpses of division sown among communities, how misinformation is a weapon wielded to foster chaos and fear. As he spoke, I felt compelled to confront my reality. Jesus revealed the importance of transcending rigid beliefs that confine spiritual growth. The manipulations I'd observed in my community suddenly made sense, revealing the chains that bind so many to a narrow interpretation of faith. In that moment of clarity, I understood the urgency. The world is filled with individuals trapped in cycles of misunderstanding, unaware of the deeper truths waiting to be unlocked. I could sense the need for awakening, a call for all of us to rise above the mundane and recognize the interconnectedness of our spiritual journeys. When I returned to consciousness, the mosque felt transformed around me, yet the emotional weight of my experience remained. I knew that my life could no longer revert to the way it was. Despite the respect I had earned within the community, I felt a surge of purpose calling me to share what Jesus had revealed. But how could I speak these truths without facing rejection? The fear of being ostracized haunted me, yet the love and truth I had encountered propelled me forward. I was ready to embrace the awakening not just for myself but as a guiding light for others who might still linger in the shadows of doubt and uncertainty. The journey to share these revelations was just beginning, and I felt a deep determination to confront the challenges ahead with unwavering faith. Upon returning to the physical world, I found myself enveloped in confusion and emotional turmoil. My name is Amir, and I once served as a respected Sheikh in Mecca, devoted to nurturing the faith of my community. However, everything changed dramatically after my near-death experience, where I encountered Jesus in a moment of profound revelation. When I opened my eyes to the familiar confines of the mosque, the weight of my experiences pressed heavily upon my heart. I felt compelled to share the truth I had witnessed, but I quickly learned that doing so would come at a great cost. As I attempted to articulate my encounter with Jesus to my family and community, the response was swift and hostile. I was met with a barrage of accusations, labeled a traitor for embracing beliefs that challenged the very foundations of our faith. The pain of their words cut deep, igniting a fierce internal conflict within me. I longed for reconciliation, for the love and understanding I had shared with my family, but the truth I had received felt too important to bury beneath the weight of their anger and disappointment. Each time I tried to explain, I could see the disbelief and fear in their eyes. This schism tore at my spirit. On one hand, I felt an undeniable responsibility to share what had been revealed to me, the hidden agendas of religious and political manipulation, and how the elite exploit our beliefs for power. On the other hand, I was consumed with the fear of losing the only life I had ever known. The comfort of tradition and acceptance was intoxicating, yet its grip felt increasingly suffocating. As I navigated these turbulent waters, I often reflected on the burden of standing for the truth in the face of hostility. I sensed that the spiritual war we are all engaged in wasn't just a battle for my heart. It encompassed the broader struggle of humanity. Each day that passed fueled my determination to find a way to bridge this divide. I found solace in conversations with others who had also experienced their own awakenings. With every meeting, I gathered strength, drawing courage from the stories shared about their struggles against the deception that often clouded our spiritual journeys. Together, we envisioned a world where love and truth could exist side by side, free from the constraints of fear. But even amidst these newfound connections, the longing for my family's acceptance never waned. I often sat in solitude, overwhelmed by the emotional weight of my choices. The love I felt from my community wrestled with the urgency to speak out against the injustices I had witnessed. Jesus had shown me a path not just for myself, but for everyone caught in this web of conflict and misunderstanding. I realized that embracing my own truth meant inviting others to do the same. My journey was not just about personal liberation. It was about igniting a collective awakening, a mission to guide those still shackled to the past into the light of understanding. And as I readied myself to carry that message into the world, I felt both fear and hope intertwine, urging me forward into an uncertain but vital future. In the wake of isolation, I ventured into the uncharted territory of exploring the Bible, seeking answers and guidance that had long eluded me. My name is Amir, and as a Sheikh in Mecca, my life had revolved around the principles of Islam. Yet, after my near-death experience and the encounter with Jesus, I found myself grappling with feelings of confusion and disillusionment. This new path felt both exhilarating and terrifying, as if I were teetering on the edge of a precipice, ready to leap into the unknown. I began to read the Bible in secret, allowing myself to be drawn into the words of Jesus, feeling a connection I had never experienced before. Each passage resonated with my inner turmoil, offering insights that seemed tailored to my heart's deepest questions. I would often stay up late, poring over verses that spoke of love, redemption, and the power of truth. The urgency behind these messages became a driving force in my life, compelling me to immerse myself deeper into this spiritual exploration. I was hungry for understanding, desperate to grasp the truth that had been revealed to me. Watching Christian testimony videos became another outlet for my desire to connect with this new perspective. Hearing stories of transformation and awakening from others who had faced similar struggles gave me hope. I was moved by the raw honesty of their journeys, recognizing the universal threads of fear, doubt, and the desire for a deeper relationship with the divine. Each testimony I absorbed felt like a lifeline, guiding me through my own doubts and helping me feel less isolated in my quest for truth. In every story, I discovered pieces of my own struggle. In the midst of this exploration, I sought out a small group of individuals who shared their experiences with me in a discreet, supportive environment. We came together under the cloak of anonymity, sharing our journeys and the profound insights we had gained. Each meeting left me feeling more hopeful, yet more aware of the very real risks I faced. Would my community accept this new understanding? Would they embrace me, or would they scorn me as a traitor for questioning the very foundations of our faith? The tension grew as I prepared to navigate these conflicting emotions, clinging to the truth I had uncovered. Despite the fear of losing familial acceptance and cultural security, I felt an undeniable sense of freedom in my awakening. Each conversation, each prayer to Jesus for courage, strengthened my resolve to stand in my truth. I understood that this spiritual war was not one that could be fought silently. It required voices of courage to speak out against the deceptions that permeated our beliefs. I felt an urgency to share what I had learned, hoping to awaken others who were still trapped in confusion and fear. As the flames of passion and conviction ignited within, I felt ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that this journey was not just for my sake, but for the liberation of those still longing for the light of truth. Receiving a sense of divine commissioning has shifted everything in my life. My name is Amir, and as a Sheikh in Mecca, I've dedicated my life to guiding others in their faith. But everything changed the day I had my encounter with Jesus during what seemed like a routine Friday prayer. The experience not only opened my eyes to deeper truths, but embedded within me a profound sense of urgency. I realized that this wasn't just a personal awakening, it was a calling to warn others. The truths I uncovered were too significant, the stakes too high for me to remain silent. In the days after my experience, I felt the weight of responsibility pressing on my shoulders. I found myself reflecting on the hidden agendas that often cloud our perceptions, how the elite manipulate faith to maintain their control over society. I witnessed how these deceptions divide communities, creating rifts that tear apart the very fabric of our shared humanity. Each revelation felt like a stone cast into the still waters of my beliefs, creating ripples of clarity that unsettled the calm surface I had settled for all these years. Despite this newfound clarity, fear loomed large in my heart. How could I share this revelation with my family and community when the risk of total rejection felt imminent? I was acutely aware of the cultural backlash that accompanied any deviation from accepted norms. The very idea of confronting my community with these truths ignited a fierce internal conflict. I longed for acceptance and understanding, yet felt compelled to speak out against the very ideologies that had once defined my existence. The contradiction weighed heavily on me, casting a shadow over my every thought. And yet, as each day passed, the urgency of my mission transformed fear into resolve. I began to gather with a small group of like-minded individuals, those who also sensed the shifts happening around them and felt the need for an awakening. In those clandestine meetings, the conversations flowed with passion and conviction. We shared our stories of enlightenment, discussing the spiritual war we were all engaged in. Through our dialogue, we explored the ways in which our faith had been twisted and manipulated, and we united in the desire to reclaim the truth that had been obscured. I began to understand that this journey was about more than just my awakening. It was about sharing the light with others. With every story I shared, I felt empowerment coursing through me. The truth became less of a burden and more of a beacon guiding us all. The stakes were incredibly high, but the potential for transformation was even greater. As I prepared to step into the light of revelation, I knew I was ready to confront whatever came my way, driven by a singular purpose: to illuminate the path for others still walking in darkness. The road ahead was uncertain, yet I felt an unwavering commitment to bring my community into the light of truth and love that I had been so generously shown. In a courageous act of liberation, I decided to sever ties with my former life. My name is Amir, and as a sheikh in Mecca, I devoted years to guiding my community and fulfilling the expectations placed upon me. But after my encounter with Jesus during my near-death experience, everything shifted. I felt a profound awakening stirring within, a calling that demanded I embrace a new identity beyond the confines of tradition. The very fabric of my existence felt frayed, yet as I stood at the crossroads of my journey, a sense of renewal began to blossom in the wreckage of my solitude. The decision to abandon my old life was fraught with challenges. I found myself wrestling with fear and doubt, staring into an uncertain future. What would my family think? Would my community accept me, or would they cast me aside as a pariah? Those questions plagued me as I began to navigate the unfamiliar territory of preaching the love of Jesus. Yet, with each step I took, I found a growing sense of empowerment and liberation from the expectations that had long suffocated my spirit. The truth I had uncovered demanded to be shared, and the need to articulate that truth grew more urgent with each passing day. In my new life, I encountered people who were hungry for authenticity, for a message that spoke to their hearts. I began to share my testimony with others who were also seeking hope amid their inner turmoil. Together, we explored the implications of the spiritual war we were all engaged in, the invisible battles for our souls being waged by those seeking to manipulate and control through deception. I shared the revelations that Jesus had imparted to me, laying bare the hidden agendas of the elite, the structures that sought to divide us and create societal discord. Each conversation reinforced the urgency of our mission to break free from those chains. Despite the joy of fostering a new community, the scars of my past continued to ache. I longed for reconciliation with my family, imagining heartfelt conversations where I could share my journey of transformation and invite them to see the truths I had encountered. Yet, the fear of rejection remained, a ghost that haunted my every thought. How could I reconcile my love for them with the realization that my path now deviated from their expectations? I often felt torn between the desire to belong and the imperative to follow the light of Jesus, a light that had shown me the beauty of spiritual freedom and profound truth. Yet, each time I gathered with my newfound community, my resolve strengthened. I witnessed transformations in those around me, their eyes lighting up as they grasped the beauty of love and truth that transcends religious confines. The awakening wasn't just an individual journey, it was a collective movement toward liberation. I knew that by sharing my story, I was not only giving voice to my truth, but also empowering others to confront their fears and embrace their own journeys. As we stood together, united in our quest for understanding, I felt the hope of a brighter future, one that resonated with the principles of love and awakening. The path ahead promised struggle, but I was ready to face it head-on, fueled by the light of Jesus guiding my way. As I reflect on my life years later, I find myself fully immersed in a new community that embraces the truths I once feared to share. My name is Amir, and my journey as a sheikh in Mecca was abruptly transformed after my encounter with Jesus during a near-death experience. Now, I dedicate myself to a mission that transcends my past. I am compelled to help others navigate the complexities of their faith crises. What began as a personal awakening has blossomed into a powerful movement, igniting a spark of hope for many who feel lost in their spiritual journeys. In this new community, I've witnessed the profound effects of my testimony on others grappling with the challenges of faith. People come to me, hearts heavy with doubt, and I encourage them to confront those uncertainties rather than hide from them. Each story shared resonates deeply, revealing how we're all connected by our struggles against the same spiritual war. even if we come from different backgrounds. The love and understanding that fills our gatherings create an environment where truth can flourish, a stark contrast to the isolation I once felt. Despite the fulfillment I find in my new role, the yearning for reconciliation with my family remains a constant ache in my heart. I often think about my parents and my friends who see my transformation as a betrayal rather than an awakening. They are trapped in a web of tradition, and while I can understand their perspective, it pains me to know they may never grasp the revelations I have received. In my quieter moments, I pray for the strength to bridge that gap, hoping that one day I can share my journey with them and invite them into the light of truth that has set me free. The revelations I encountered during my experience with Jesus are vital for understanding the hidden agendas that shape our world. I share these insights with my community, emphasizing the importance of recognizing the deception spun by the elite to keep us divided and fearful. As we discuss these issues, I see sparkles of awakening in their eyes, a realization that the battle for truth extends far beyond ourselves. Conversations about the societal divisions and political turmoil resonate powerfully, creating a shared urgency to fight against the darkness that threatens to engulf us. With every passing day as I share my journey, I feel empowered by the hope we cultivate together. The emotional connections we form strengthen our resolve to seek the truth, even when it feels daunting. I know that the road ahead will be filled with challenges, and the prospect of facing continued rejection weighs heavily upon me. Yet, the love and light that Jesus revealed to me provide a beacon of hope, a guiding force urging me forward on this path of awakening. I strive to embody that message, encouraging others to embrace their own truths, step out of the shadows, and join the fight for the soul of our communities. The mission is clear: to share the love and revelation that can illuminate even the darkest corners of our world. As we come to the end of this powerful testimony, I want to leave you with a thought that echoes in my heart. What does it mean to break free from the chains of tradition and step into the light of truth? My journey, once confined within the walls of a mosque, now extends into the vast unknown, a realm where love transcends labels and the whispers of Jesus beckon us to awaken. In my experience, I realized that we are all part of a larger story, one woven with threads of divine purpose. The spiritual war unfolds around us, with hidden agendas often obscuring our sight, but the truth remains. Within each of us lies the capacity to rise above manipulation and deception, to find liberation in love and understanding. Are we willing to question the narratives that bind us, to confront the fears that keep us from embracing our true selves? I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Have you felt the pull of something greater in your own life? Like me, have you ever wrestled with the tension of faith, longing for something beyond the established norms? I read every comment, and together, we can explore these sacred truths. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to Truth from Beyond and hit that notification bell. Your engagement allows us to continue unfolding these vital stories and uncovering the truths that lie just beyond the surface. In our next video, we'll delve into another incredible testimony of transformation, a story that shows just how powerful love can be when faced with doubt. I'm Amir, and as we continue this journey together, remember, the pursuit of truth is not just a personal endeavor, but a collective awakening waiting to ignite. See you in the next chapter.